Not all great stories have great beginnings.
We had a terrible time. Didn't like each other at all.
That bad first date led to marriage for Jerry and Pearl Ann Horowitz. What followed was a beloved daughter and son, a successful career as a wealth manager, and life as a civic and business leader in Atlanta. At the center of this happy world was the larger-than-life presence that was Jerry Horowitz.
He could walk into a room of 100 people, and if he didn't know him in the beginning, he would know him at the end.
He was a giant. He was a giant in his industry. He was a giant in the Jewish community, and he was a giant to us.
The head of multiple organizations and boards, Jerry was known for never saying no to someone who needed help. Lifelong friend Tom Asher.
Jerry had a lot of energy. He was a very charismatic, very energetic, and a very caring person. Jerry gave back to the community. He shared his success with others.
Inspired by their daughter Michelle, who has special needs,
Transforming their lives forever.
they created a hugely successful nonprofit, the Zimmerman Horowitz Program, to help special needs people lead independent lives.
I did enjoy every waking moment that I saw him.
He used to always call almost every day.
But then symptoms began. Jerry would leave his son Scott the same voicemail 3 times in a row.
My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I saw how she would repeat herself.
An irreplaceable foundation began to crumble.
If I'm able to keep myself from getting completely emotionally involved in my own life, I'm okay.
Diagnosed 8 years ago at 70, Jerry was cared for by Dr. Alan Levy and his team at Emory Brain Health until the day Jerry's family took him to where he is now, the William Bremen Jewish Home.
I'd say the worst day of my life when we had to take him to the home. He was very confused, and he had no idea where he was going. And then as we left, he was asking for us. He didn't deserve that.
Tangles are stained, but not plaques.
There has been more advance in the last 10 years than there had been in probably the 100 years since Alzheimer first described the disease.
It's patients like Jerry Horowitz who motivate researchers at Emory Alzheimer's Disease Research Center.
So was there anything interesting in the ones that were down in AD?
Director of the Cognitive Neurology Program, Dr. James Law.
The bright minds that come into science and have to choose an area in which to work, choose to work in this area because, like the rest of us, they see how absolutely critical it is that we address this problem and fix it.
Dr. Alan Levy says the focus has shifted in research to prevention.
One of the most important translational research opportunities that we've had in years is when Sarah and Jim Kennedy enabled us to translate some medications which are already out there, which we think may turn down brain inflammation, and bring those into people.
Levy says with the knowledge that the disease begins 20 years before symptoms, another focus is early detection. Emory researchers are working with the team in the UK and in Chicago to match what's happening in the brain to what's happening in the blood. It could lead to the first blood test for Alzheimer's disease. And with funding from the state of Georgia, Emory is replicating its comprehensive care for people across the state with the Georgia Alzheimer's Project.
That allows us to replicate what we've set up here at Emory and the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center across the state. So over this next year, what we will be launching are 5 clinics across the state, which can basically model, mirror what we're doing, so we can have the same comprehensive approach that we've developed.
Dr. Levy and his dedicated team of researchers are being recognized for their work this year.
His strength, I think, as a leader is that he creates a melting pot for ideas and for different approaches to Alzheimer's disease that is very productive.
Success as a team would never begin without the community's support. And so any recognition or honor for the team has to include recognition of the community that's gotten us here and continues to keep us going.
A member of that team retired this year, Janet Seller, a remarkable leader of the ADRC whose absence is deeply felt.
Janet has been on the journey, the entire journey. She helped, break the path with us.
I worked so closely with her for so long and still feel the pain of her loss on a regular basis.
But Janet is still working with Emory on its vision for a brain health village, a village that would upend the traditional model of medicine, allowing patients continuous care and contact with their medical teams.
We view a day program, a transitions program, where it would be a living laboratory where people who we first diagnose in the clinic then would have a place to come where we could work on how to enhance brain recovery. Not look at this as a neurodegenerative disease which is going to gradually get worse, but how do we reframe that? Here's a person who has a symptom like some memory loss. Well, what can we do to improve the memory?
Expanding from a brain health center to an entire village, replicating the Emory brain health model so all Georgians can have access to earlier diagnosis and care. And unending aggressive research that is bringing us ever closer to interventional treatments and a cure.
Said to him, "Why, you are lucky. He's the Michael Jordan of our firm." He was tough, but loving.
There are letters of remembrance and love from Jerry and Pearl Ann's friends.
He wanted to better the lives of others. Steve Merlin was a few years younger than Jerry. He was that older guy who always believed or hoped you would be like when you were his age.
It's the smallest losses that can hurt the most.
It's been a good while since he said my name. We must find a cure. It's not fair for someone as vibrant as Jerry to lose being the person he was.
My grandmother was diagnosed around 70. My father was diagnosed at 70. I'm 51. Scary.
From that bumpy first date to 53 years of marriage, Pearl Ann misses the love of her life.
Holding each other, dancing together, looking at and enjoying art together, special travels, and the list goes on and on.
Jerry Horowitz's legacy of passion and philanthropy lives on.
He taught me how to give back to those less fortunate and to build a stronger and better community that you live in.
And it is Jerry's sweet daughter, Michelle, who may say it best of all when describing what Alzheimer's has taken from her and from everyone who has lost someone to this disease.
He doesn't know me anymore, but his soul knows I was there.